Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from Bahati Life. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please ignore and excuse the mess and the bareness behind me. This week, I currently moved into my new apothecary space, so I'm still currently setting everything up, and it is taking me a little longer than I would have liked, but it's only been a week, and I have to give myself a little bit of credit because I did open up my shop quickly right afterwards, but that's neither here nor there. I received this question, which is the focus of this video. And the question was just, how do you turn your passion into a profitable business? I love what it is that you're doing. I want to do it for me. Now, I love that question, and I get that question a lot. And I wanted to make sure that I was in a position and in a space to be able to answer it for you fully. Because so much has happened within this last year, and things that I am so grateful for and things that I'm still growing and learning from. And all of it has been super, super positive. And I wanted to make sure that the information and my insight that I was giving to others, especially my Bahati Vibe tribe, was stuff that was gonna benefit them and that they could learn and gain from. Now, my background is not in being an entrepreneur. I did not take business studies in university or in college. In fact, I studied psychology, and while I was studying psychology, I was, studying astrology and tarot, and that's now currently what it is that I'm doing now, is running my apothecary and setting intentions and working my magic for my clients. So when I created Bahati Life at the time, when I created Bahati Life, which is now what it is that it's called, at the time it was Bahati Tarot. There were a lot of people, including family and friends, that were telling me, Jess, you have to choose. You have to pick one or the other. You can't do both. And I understand what it is they were saying was that at the time, I was running, going to school full time. I was working, part-time jobs, 2 part-time jobs, technically 3, and also had was pulling cards and studying the stars and studying the astrology charts while I was going to school, and it was a lot, and they saw me kind of wearing myself down. But I couldn't stop myself. I was very passionate about it. I still am. And I was only kind of going through the motions with school because I was not really sure what it is that I wanted to do. And it was something that logically made sense. That was my backup plan for whatever it was that I was going to work to do. Granted, I was very passionate about the study of psychology and the subconscious mind, but I knew within my heart and soul that I wasn't going to take my major and really apply it in the traditional way, that I was going to do healing in another way, and from what I personally believed in. So I understand what everyone was saying, but I also needed to kind of go my own way and find my own path and honor what it is that I felt like I was being called to do. And I think that when you are on the right path for a career or your service to others or your gift to this world, you couldn't stop it even if you wanted to. There were times when I knew that I was tired, or I knew that I needed to take a break, or I knew that there were other things that should have been a priority, i.e. like my homework or whatever, but I pushed myself to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in order to do what it is that I loved. I was always tweeting on Twitter at the time what I saw currently going on within the stars. Even as I was studying my own charts and studying astrology, I was always kind of putting that out into the world years ago. So this is over 5 years ago. And over time, it kind of evolved. So I'm saying all this to say that when it comes to turning a passion into a profitable business, you want to make sure that it's not only something that you love, but something that you're truly borderline obsessed with. And this obsession, this true love, is going to be so important to you for many reasons as you move forward. Number one, there are going to be times where, when you're running a business, or especially working for yourself, that everything is going to hit the fan. Especially in my own experience. Last year, I experienced incredible growth, and I had set the intent for it, and I mentally and emotionally was ready for it. But as far as being a business owner, and running a business, I don't think I was really ready, and I didn't have the experience to kind of keep up with the demand. And for that, there were people who were very disappointed and frustrated with me because they wanted their custom oils and orders sent out to them within 2 days or within a week. And my time frame for shipping things out just kept on increasing because the demand was so high. And if it wasn't for the fact that I was super passionate about what it was that I was doing, there were many times that I could have very easily given up and rolled over and just called it a defeat. But because I was passionate and because I love what I do and because there's something within me that spurs me to keep going despite all odds, despite all obstacles, despite how inexperienced I was, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here today. And you wouldn't be able to say that Bahati Life was a success. You would only be able to say that, you know what, Bahati Life had a good run. So that's something else that you have to have is that there are going to be times where, especially if you're running a business, that you have no one to turn to. You have no one to ask for advice. You are the one who calls the shots. If something goes wrong, people are going to come to you and they want a response. They need an answer, and you have to be the one to fix it. And that's so overwhelming to think about. And that's so overwhelming to kind of swallow. But again, your passion fuels you. Your love for what it is that you do is going to fuel you. That's the other thing too, is that if you truly are passionate, you know, if you're running a business and especially trying to make it successful, and hopefully, like for me personally, I wasn't trying to make Bahati Life into anything. It just kind of morphed into what it was. And I did set intention as I saw that people were loving it, that it would get into the right hands or right into the right ears, or people would accept it and love it. So, and for that is success. But if it wasn't for me being passionate and loving what it is that I do, I wouldn't be able to sustain physically. Because when you run a business by yourself, or when you're owning your business, you know, again, like there's no one else to turn to. So you have to keep going. Like people say that running a business is a full-time job. No, it's an all-the-time job. You're always working. There are more weekends that I don't have off than I do have off. I'm always working. Even if I'm on vacation, I still find myself in some way, shape, or form doing work. Even if I put my shop on hold or on vacation mode, I'm in some way, shape, or form doing something that's connected to my work. And I say work in parentheses because it doesn't actually feel like work. I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. Even if I wasn't doing this for my work, even if I wasn't getting paid from this as my job, I would still be doing this. Even now, like if I am, you know, spent all day reading charts or working with my clients, and then I say, you know, my friends are like, hey, Jess, where are you at? We're at so-and-so, like at this restaurant or wherever they're at. Come meet us. I will go there, and they'll ask me, yo, what's going on with my astrology chart? What's going on with in the stars? Or maybe they don't ask me and I just volunteer that information, or I pull a chart for a stranger. It's because I truly and genuinely love what I do. So even if I'm not doing it for my work, I'm still doing it in some way, shape, or form. Even after a full day of reading charts for my clients, astrology charts, or pulling cards for my clients, or making a custom oil, I will then say that I'm going to take a break and then go sit on the sofa and relax, or go to the beach, or go to the park and still pull a chart for myself and find that it's exhilarating and it's relaxing and I love it. And it's because I'm passionate, and I just, even if I wasn't doing it for work, I would still be doing it. So one thing that I say for turning your passion into a successful business or a successful brand is to make sure that you are not only in love with it, but you're like borderline obsessed. Now, keep in mind that there are going to be, you know, balance with everything, that you do need to take time for yourself. So currently right now in my progress with Bahati Life, I do set the intent and now take time out for the weekends to kind of disconnect from social media, disconnect from Instagram and YouTube, in order for me to kind of focus on myself, focus on my family, focus on making meals, focusing on preparing for my week ahead, or just relaxing because it's so important for me to do that. As a human being, I have to take time for myself. And at this stage in my life, I genuinely enjoy it. But on Mondays or Sunday or Wednesday, or whatever day it is that I go back to work and go back into, normally I start my work on Mondays because that's, you know, what I'm accustomed to do. But on Mondays, I pick myself up and I'm re-energized and I'm ready to go again. So that's something else that, you know, I really highly suggest that if you're going to try and start your passion, turn a passion into a profitable business or into work, that you make sure that it is something that you truly love and are very passionate about, because you're going to be working all the time, especially if you're working for yourself, especially if you're running a business, a small business, and starting it from scratch like I did. The other tip or word of advice that I can say for starting a business and turning your passion into your work is to be easy on yourself. So especially if you're like me, I didn't start Bahati Life as a business. Bahati Life was my ritual. Bahati Life was a lifestyle before it turned into something that I shared with the world. So with that being said, I didn't come into Bahati Life saying, I'm going to turn this into a business. I'm going to turn this into a successful, you know, corporation or anything like that. It just kind of grew itself. And with that, there were a lot of things that I needed to learn in order to whip myself into shape, in order to be, you know, of service to my clients and to keep my business going and to continue to do what it is that I wanted to do. And I willingly said yes to doing this, and I willingly signed up to, you know, work for myself full time because it was fulfilling my spirit to do it. So it was a natural decision for me to do it. It was a natural decision for me to say, yes, you know, this is what I love. This is what I'm going to do. So with that, I took some beatings. Like, I took some serious beatings when it came to, you know, lessons that I needed to learn. When it came to facing some of my fears. For example, putting myself on YouTube, that was something that I was terrified of. I didn't want to be judged. In a lot of ways, I had to kind of step outside of the broom closet and tell people that this is what I believe in and this is what I'm about. And to put a face to the work that I've been doing was something that freaked me the hell out, because in a lot of ways I didn't want people to look at me, which sounds so crazy, but I just felt so, it's like, you have to understand that Bahati Life was not a brand or a business. It was my lifestyle. It was my soul. It was my belief systems that I was just sharing with the world. So to put myself on YouTube in that way, put a face to my belief system and just kind of pointed fingers in my direction to say, that's Jess of Bahati Life. And just spirituality and belief systems in general is something that's so private and sacred, and to put myself out in that way, granted it's good for my business, but it took me, you know, a lot to kind of get over that initial hump. But I did it because I felt called to do it. I did it because it, you know, it was divine for me to do it. It made sense. And because when I did it, when I finally did it and started getting into the swing of things, it felt comfortable and I loved it. And now I love making videos for you guys, and I love getting questions from you guys, because that means that I can come on here and answer them for you, and you guys can receive the maximum benefit. So in other ways, like, that's a really small, cute example, but in other ways, you know, last year, again, like I said before, I experienced incredible growth, and a lot of it came from my Etsy shop at the time, and then I migrated my Etsy shop off of Etsy and moved it onto my own website platform, because for many reasons, I don't want to get into it too much, but I did make a video about that, and I can link it down below. But like I was saying, I experienced a lot of growth last year. And for me, yes, I set intention for it, but when it started happening, I had to whip myself into shape as quickly as I could. Granted, and that is one of the reasons why I'm here where I'm at right now in this physical location, because it was where I was at, my space was not conducive to me being able to make as much as I needed to for my clients and be able to serve my clients in the way that they needed to be. So for me to move into the space was something that the thing is too, is that space that I started Bahati Life in, like officially full time, was my home. And for me to make that decision, I loved that apartment. I like loved that apartment. I worked out of my apartment. For me to make that decision to move away from my home in order to expand, even though it sounds good on the outside, it was emotional for me because I left my home. It was comfortable. I loved it there. It was just perfect. It was my own little oasis, but I outgrew it. So and I'm not saying this to say like, woe is me or pity me, but because I'm very blessed, like I'm very grateful, but there's certain sacrifices that, you know, at some point you're going to have to make for the sake of your business. And if you're not passionate and if you don't love it, then it's going to feel really, really bad. Like it's going to be a sacrifice that you have to make that just doesn't resonate with you, or you feel like you have to kind of like do it out of obligation. Now, it was bittersweet because I turned in the key to my old space in order to turn the key to this new space. And I picked this location specifically, and so far it served me so well, so good, even though I'm currently still setting up and establishing myself. But there's many memories and good things that'll come from this space. But again, it's sacrifices. Now, back to what it was that I was saying is that you are going to have to sacrifice a lot and be open and flexible to growing and being open and flexible to what the universe has for you and your business, and determining if that's what you want for yourself. Now, granted, for me personally, again, this is my passion, this is my life. So for me to make these decisions is effortless and easy. I can't tell you how, like, there have been relationships in the past where I was building Bahati life and I was just in my zone, and that my partner said to me, Jess, you have to choose one, either Bahati life or me. And I was like, deuces. Like, I know that sounds so messed up, but like the sacrifices that are going to come when it comes to having a passion project are great. But if it's something that you truly are passionate about, it's not really a sacrifice because you're just moving on to the next stage. You're moving on to the next level. Now, I can say now that the relationship that I'm in right now is very highly encouraging of me and my business. So I don't have to sacrifice one over the other. That person gives me my space to grow my brand and to serve you guys and to come on here as often as I do. But if at any point there's a time in anywhere in my life where people are like, Jess, you can't do this anymore, I'm going to say, bye. You want to know why? Because I love Bahati life. I love my brand. I love what I do. So that's one thing that I can say, that if you are going to turn your passion project into something that's profitable, that you realize what it is that's at risk, and you realize the sacrifices that you will make: sleep, vacation, relationships. Yeah, for the most part. The other thing that I say when you're setting intentions, when you're turning a business, your passion into a business, is to set intentions for it. That's something that I did. You want to speak life into your business. You want to speak life into your projects. You want to speak life into anything that you are investing yourself in, because that gives it life. It gives it momentum. It allows it to grow. That's something too, outside of praying and setting intentions, I speak life into my brand every single day. I speak life into Bahati life every single day. Bahati life is my child. Bahati life is something that I created. I birthed it myself. I created it. And for that, I keep giving to it so that it can thrive, so that it can grow. And I speak life into it every single day. So, another thing that I can say too is rules. What are rules? Literally, when it comes to rules, at the time, Bahati Life started off as Bahati Tarot, and if I would have known all that I was going to get into, or if I would have followed the rules for like how to run a business or how to run a successful anything, I would have pooped out so fast, because it is so overwhelming to hear what everyone else has to say, to get advice from professionals. If it's your passion, just continue to make it your own. Do not look to see what others are doing. If you do that, I can honestly say that the times where I was not myself and didn't allow myself to be myself with my brand or my business, my business did not grow. I was a replica of what was already out there. So even like my images, I remember with Instagram, like I was like, okay, this is working for so and so, this is working for them. And I just kind of like mirrored that at one point because I don't want to say insecure, but I was trying to learn. And I learned really quickly that I needed to be my authentic self, first and foremost, always and forever. So, what I recommend to you is that you don't mirror what other people are doing. There are so many accounts out there, there are so many businesses that look just like each other, and there's nothing special about you. You know, what you can find with me is that, you know, I pull my own astrology charts. I use my intuition and my study of this astrology and I merge them together. I work my magic the way that only I work my magic, and that's something that I don't really want to talk about right here, right now, because right now there's a lot of people who are following me and watching me and trying to replicate what I'm doing. So I don't want to talk about it too much in detail, but for those of you guys who are followers of the Apothecary, you know not all of my ways, but you know what the magical process looks like. So you don't need me to tell you. But what I can say honestly though is that when it comes to making your business profitable and giving it life and giving to it, make sure that you are always your authentic self, because if there's anything that and the other thing too is don't try so hard to be different. You know what I mean? Don't try so hard to like, you know, strike out and like be like, you know, obviously ostentatious, if that's the right word. Just be yourself. One of the last pieces of advice that I can give you, as far as I know, because I'm really like winging this, is do not give up. Literally don't give up. Again, there are times and there are days where I just, you know, I can think off the top of my head where I just felt so defeated and so frustrated. And I set intentions. I worked my butt off. I did the most that I can. I tried to make people happy. Sometimes there's going to be people that no matter what, you're just not going to make them happy. Sometimes there's going to be things that you just can't do. In fact, my boyfriend said to me late last year, he said, Jess, you do a lot. Like, you do a lot. If you can't do something for someone, it's because it physically cannot be done. And he's right. You know what I mean? Like, even if I'm passionate, even though I'm giving Bahati Life my all and then some, there are going to be some things that we simply just cannot do. And you have to not accept it, but in those moments, it can really feel defeating, and it can make you feel like what you have already given is not enough. Don't give up. Literally don't give up, because those same moments where I felt defeated and frustrated and like, how can I not dig myself out of this hole, but how can I fix this? Or I failed, or I made someone disappointed, or someone said no, or this didn't work out, or all of my oils or my bottles broke. Like, that was one thing that happened to me in the very beginning of my journey. I got a huge wholesale for this great company that I loved, and all of the oils that I put out there, literally all of them crashed and broke in transit. It was over 2,800 bottles and they all broke. And that was my first really large wholesale. And I remember just getting email after email of the shipping company being like, this box is broken, this box is destroyed, this is destroyed. And I took my hands and I braced myself on the table. When my one buddy, John, was standing right next to me, I took one deep breath and I cried. I cried so hard because I watched my love, my babies, get destroyed one by one. And it hurt me so hard. And I wanted to give up because I felt like in that moment, I was like, this is the end. This is the end. And I didn't. I cried. I cried it out. I picked myself up because I was passionate and because I was not going to give up on Bahati Life. And I wasn't going to let something stop me. I just wasn't. I had a bad moment. but I wasn't going to let me keep me down forever. Are you kidding me? This is my life. I love this. So don't give up. And very soon after that, like, the shipping company admitted that I had done all that I could do as far as safely shipping them in regards to their protocol. I asked them what was their requirements as far as shipping. What should I do? They told me. I did it, and they did not handle the boxes correctly. Like, I'm not going to point fingers, but it was what it was. There's moments where there are major moments of defeat. Don't give up. It happens to every single business, every single brand. There's going to be multiple moments that you just fall right on your face, and in that moment, for maybe 24 hours or 48 hours, you can't pick yourself up because you're weak, but you have to. If a passionate person doesn't have a choice but to stay on their face. They pick themselves up because they're passionate, because they love it, and they can't stay defeated. And quickly after that, you do have a successful turnaround. You'll start to see things happening. That's the other thing too about the universe, is when things fall apart or a door closes, something else opens up. So you just have to trust that and set intentions and keep being yourself, keep being authentic, keep doing what you do best. Especially when it comes to passion, things that you're passionate about, especially for years, long time, like my whole life. I started looking into the tarot when I was maybe like 9 or 10 years old, roughly around that. And I've always been interested. Even when people were telling me how bad it was or how evil it was, I was just like, is it? I'm going to go do my research and find out. And it was like them questioning me only spurred me to find out more and to dive in even more. So the things that are set up to kind of bring you down are set up to build you up. Remember that. So that's it for now that I can say for part one, I guess, of advice that I can give to make a passion project into something that's profitable. Of course, you know, there is no real true recipe for success. Even if you had an incredible business background, you know, those people still see businesses that they run and start fail, because sometimes the viewers, the community, the tribe is not there. So one thing that I do, and one thing that I have, is a really amazing tribe of people. That's you guys, my YouTube followers, my Instagram followers. Like, I don't even see you guys as followers. I see you guys as a part of my community, and we're just getting together on Mondays at 7 p.m. and talking about our live chats and talking about astrology, and we're having a conversation, an ongoing conversation. I see it as people who are just as equally as passionate. I see it as people who are excited about the same things that I'm excited about. So there's a level of respect there that flows between me and you. There's a level of friendship. There's a level of understanding. There's a level of boundaries in some way, that you know what you can expect from me. I know what I can expect from you. And it's an exchange of energy that we have here. All right, my loves. So, that being said, I'm going to take some more time to think about this. I feel like there's going to be a part two for, you know, turning your passion into a successful business. But yeah, what I started off with is, so far, I feel is pretty good. And I hope that it gets in the right hands to the right person at the right time. No matter where you are, what it is that you're going through, let this video bless you. Let this video inspire you. Let this video keep you going, especially if you felt for a moment that you were going to give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Okay? I love you. Bye.